And there it is.
And welcome back to Say It Is with Brandon and Tyler. We have a very, very special guest with us today. We got one Tom Grossi. How are you doing, Tom? And thank you for coming on the pod.
I'm great. Thanks so much for having me.
So, you have had a pretty big past few years. You had 30 and 30, your international stadium tour. You moved to Wisconsin.
Yep.
You've been to New Zealand. Now, did you propose to Maya in New Zealand or after you got back?
No, that was so. By
the way, thanks. Congrats for the of your engagement.
I appreciate you. Yeah, no, it's been a hectic year. So back in like October/November, that's when I started this like proposal process and like planning and all that stuff. So I just happened to book like back-to-back trips because it was like, okay, I can't do it this summer because I'm doing 30 and 30 part 2.
Yep.
And then like we just don't have time. So this is the only time we can actually go on vacation. And this is only the third time in 5 years that we've gone on vacation. So I went to New Zealand solo. And so that was a solo trip that I just been waiting to do for 11 years. Then we got back, we went away to Iceland, and that's where the proposal happened.
Nice. So how was Iceland?
It's honestly, this is now the third time I've been there. I went like almost a decade ago and it was beautiful then. And then that was the first vacation Maya and I ever went on a few years back. And I knew like, whenever we made it back here, like that's when I was going to pop the question. And it's one of the most beautiful places. I mean, if you're a fan of nature and you don't mind some wind and cold, man, there's some beautiful things to see.
Yeah, well, I know I've always wanted to go to New Zealand. Same thing with like Australia. I want to go to the UK sometime, Ireland, Norway. I also want to check out Turkey sometime.
Norway has been on the list for a bit just because, man, like it's just the scenery there with the fjords. It's just, and there's so much good hiking. I like hiking. So
me too. Like we have the Arboretum here and I can walk around in there for a good hour and a half.
Yeah.
And otherwise but for your part 2 of 30 and 30 is when looking at the schedule, are you going reverse order compared to like the last time you did?
Yeah, so we're just doing the same thing but just going backwards.
Okay, that's what I
so literally 2 weeks from tomorrow, whenever this is airing, so 2 weeks from Wednesday, I'm flying out and then we start like a day and a half later. So
and then do you already have your donor goals for what you're going to do, and where are they? Do you have an idea what they're going to be? What are they going to be?
Yes, the incentives are done. I haven't fully released them yet because I'm just waiting on a few locations for the fan events, but then I can kind of release everything at once. But yeah, there's some painful ones as a Packer fan, like when we get to Chicago about things that I need to do if we hit, certain goals, but it's like the really high goals because it's near the end, right?
Right.
So like a part of me is like, man, I really want to raise all this money for charity. And then the other part of me is like, well, if I don't have to be embarrassed in Chicago, that also works like the Packers were. So, it's kind of a win-win situation.
Yeah, well, did they not just lose because of a kicker, more or less?
Yeah, I mean, which time? Which embarrassing Chicago from last season? Because they happened within a month of each other in the same exact stadium. So,
Tyler over there is a. Tyler, would you describe yourself as like a somewhat of a Bears fan? More like they're like kind of like the relationship I have with Milwaukee Brewers with like a soft spot for them, but that's about it.
So I can give you the full detail on that. I was born and raised in Illinois, so I was born and raised a Blackhawks fan, Bears fan, White Sox fan. I hate the Cubs. I don't like them whatsoever. The players are fine, the fans are not. I really don't care. I became a Brewers fan, what was it, like 2024, 2023?
Yeah, that's when you adopted.
Because around that time, 2024, the White Sox were just awful.
Yes.
They were completely awful.
Like historically bad.
Yes, they had.
It wasn't just like, we had a bad season, we lost a couple games. Like they were making history in all the wrong ways.
Right. And now they've been getting better, so
hopefully
there's a future here. I did have a couple questions for you, Tom. By the way, congratulations on your engagement.
Appreciate you.
And also congratulations on hitting 1 million.
Yeah, I was gonna say
that was a big achievement.
That one took I mean, this proposal thing was only like 8 to 10 months in the making. This guy it took 11 years to get, but
right.
I appreciate it. Yeah, that that was a big proverbial monkey off the back,
Yeah, and I personally started following you and seeing like your videos and everything on YouTube on, I think it was 2018, 2019.
Damn. Okay, so that's pretty much an OG at that point because we're only 3 to 4 years in.
Yeah,
I think I started following you around. I think you did a Packers segment on This Week in Sports Ball with Tree. Was it?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's around the time I started following you.
I still remember when you were doing skits in your old living room, in your old house.
Yep. I mean, it wasn't.
Those
was last year, so it wasn't super long. But yeah, it's been an adjustment.
Yeah, it's like those are funny. Like they really are. Like I'm not a football fan, right? But I find your content fantastic. I know my mom loves your content. My dad does.
Tom Grossi, good with the moms. That's all I've wanted.
So
good with the moms.
Another question I had is, what got you into doing this whole YouTube podcast thing that you're doing now?
Yeah, so I mean, because I was a school teacher, right? So I taught high school social studies, and it honestly this was right before I started teaching, because this was the 2014 NFC Championship game, which happened in January of 2015. Mm-hmm. And so the Packers losing that game to the Seahawks was, again, you can argue, there's been some really heartbreaking losses in Packers history. If that's not the top, like, I think there are very few on the list that are going to top that, right? Like 4th and 26 was awful. You look back in 21 and 20, sure. Like there's the Giants get NFC champion. Like there's plenty of ones that you could look at. But man, oh man, being 5 minutes away from the Super Bowl, that was after dominating that game against the best team in the NFC was rough. And again, like I was in the city that day because at the time I had received tickets and kind of was forced to go see like this off-Broadway play that I did not want to go to. And then the NFC Championship game with my team happened to be at the exact same time. Oh, no. So like I'm like, I can't even tell you what happened in the show. Like, I'm like kind of checking my phone, and it's a 2015 phone. Like, it's, I'm barely getting internet trying to check it. There's a guy in a Marshawn Lynch jersey in front of me, and they're just winning. And so I'm like, oh, okay. All right. This is great. We get out in the fourth quarter, and there's like maybe 8 minutes left in the game. I'm like, you know what? Let's go find a New York City bar. Pay $13 for a beer, and go, and I'll watch my team go to the Super Bowl. This is amazing. And I literally got the beer, sat down. There's 5 minutes left in the game, and everything collapsed. And I just watched my team in stunned silence, like blow this chance to go to the Super Bowl. And so it was a very long and quiet train ride home from New York City. And so I sat with that for a couple of days, just being depressed as a Packers fan. And I went home on Tuesday, 2 days removed from the game, and I had a camcorder, and I was like, you know what? Like, if I wasn't a Packers fan, like this actually would be funny, the amount of things that went wrong.
Right.
And so I literally sat on my couch and did my first reaction video. And at that point it got and I hadn't been doing YouTube. I had done no NFL content. But it got like 60,000 views. Yeah. And I had Packers fans from around the country reaching out, and they're like, this is the first time I've smiled and laughed in 2 days. So that kind of started of like, oh, like maybe I can do something with this. And that started Packcast, which was just a podcast where I just did 2 episodes a week. I interviewed a fan from the opposing team, and then I just did a recap on Tuesdays. And yeah, it's just kind of grown ever since, just more and more, to the point that now we've been doing it for 11 years and have 1 million subscribers.
Yeah, like you work your ass off. You have the Grossi posse just help build up everything with you. That is truly a team effort.
Dude, it's crazy because that the level of community that's actually on here like is astounding. And I 30 and 30, the first time that we did it was kind of surreal for me because like I would go out to Wisconsin and maybe I'd get like recognized once or twice, and it'd be like, oh, this is a really cool experience. Because again, like I'm a school teacher, man. Like, I'm just a normal dude, and like I just did this as a passion project for so long.
And now you're recognized everywhere in Wisconsin.
And now, like, dude, like going out in 2023 and having hundreds of people like come out to fan events and hundreds of people like chanting your name. That was a new experience that like I was like, this feels, oh, okay, this is strange. Yeah, man, it's been so surreal. And I think that, just having the community and like the viewer at the forefront of everything that I do has allowed us to get to this point, because That's how we've raised $3.5 million for charity in 5 years.
Yes.
Because like I don't sell anything to anybody. You know, we don't have sponsors. Like I don't have any mid-roll ads or anything like that. I'm not trying to sell them out. And so the only time I ask folks for money is when we're doing fundraisers. So, you know, I think that and just the combination of, you know, just treating folks with respect and it's created an incredible community.
Yeah, well, it's like since you moved to Wisconsin, like you've been a fan of the Bucks since Bucks and 6. You've gone to our Food Bureau games. Actually, you went to the NLDS Game 5 like I did, except I was in standing room only because I got tickets late and I wasn't going to spend like $300 for a ticket because it's a last second purchase. I've been to 3 playoff Brewer games. I invited Tyler to go, but he was like, I don't really want to go standing room only.
Yeah.
So do you say you're a fan of Wisconsin sports as a whole now, or
it's so funny because like obviously it's been the Packers since I was 7.
Right.
So like that, it's always going to be the Packers. And then as I kind of like right around like 2020-ish, because I had known of the Bucks, but I just really wasn't into basketball.
I mean,
it just wasn't my thing. And then like I started following them a little bit more, and then I got a chance to go to the game where they won the championship, which was man, like what are the odds of that? So that worked out really well. And then last year, because dude, the last game I went to was in old Yankee Stadium before it was the new and that's been around now for like over a decade, just because I couldn't afford it after they moved. And I think I went to one Colorado Rockies game when I went out to Denver one time because it was like $16 for like 3 rows away from first baseline because they were so bad. But like baseball was just like, all right, not really my thing. But then when I moved out here, like the Brewers were doing pretty solid. And I was like, okay, like some of my buddies are diehard Brewers fans. So I was like, let me go. And it's super fun, man. Like, and also like the game has changed so much from since I was a kid. Like even just the introduction of like the pitch count, right? Like it's super quick now, or the pitch clock. So like it's super expedited, I would say. And so
the craziest change I've ever seen is 3 things when I was a kid, because I'm a diehard White Sox fan over here. Back in 2005, God, can't believe that's been 21 years. Back in 2005, I was watching Game 4 with my dad of the World Series, and my mom is like, "Well, you got to go to bed. You got to go. You got to go to school in the morning." I'm like, "I don't want to go to bed."
Yeah,
I didn't sleep. My dad walks in quietly because he thought I was sleeping. He literally whispered that the White Sox won the World Series, and I go, "Perfect."
And now I can sleep.
But 3 things that I like about the last 21 years of baseball has been universal DH. I like that, honestly, because it was weird going to the National League games and seeing the pitcher hit, and then going to American League games where I'm used to it and it's fine. It's a DH. Yeah. So that's what I like. Pitch clock, I love because it makes the games faster.
Yeah.
And now with the ABS system, that is a game
change.
Yes.
And the umps are super happy about it too. Constantly getting up.
They're absolutely elated about it.
No.
They're like, no, we're wrong.
I don't know if you watched the game, but I think it was what was it, Brandon? I think it was a Boston game where the umpire got
versus I think it was Cincinnati and CJ or CB Buckner rather. He had gotten like 10 calls wrong in a row or something like that, and he was just getting challenged up the wazoo.
Dude, but like, you know what? Like at some point, gotta drop the ego at the door and be like, just gotta get better at your job. Like that's you're in the pros. Like I umped when I was a teenager. Right. And like those stakes are like, I got paid $16 an hour and I was like, this is the greatest job I'll ever have. But man, like, when you're umping for the MLB, it's a little bit higher standards.
Yeah, just a little.
Smidge. But to answer your question too, like I did go to a Badgers game for the first time when I moved here. They got destroyed.
That's not improving.
Like it was because I have heard like you gotta go, right? You gotta go to Camp Reddy, you gotta go see a game. And I was like, and like jump around and all this great stuff, right? So we went, beautiful day. In the first quarter, they're chanting Fire Fickle, like the first quarter, and it did not get better and it did not get quieter as they lost. So that was a little bit of a rough experience, but that was also my first time in Madison, which was really cool.
Do you remember who they were playing?
Man, it was like, I think it was, hold on, I can look this up. It was the Badgers, was that the 2025 season?
Yes.
Yeah, so that was last year.
Because I had to I had to cover a game over at iHeart and produce the pregame and local pregame and the postgame.
Mm.
Well, local postgame rather, and the babysit the rest.
They did not win, so I want to say September 20th. Maybe it could have been that. It could have been against Maryland.
Yeah.
Let me see if this is right. I think it's.
Yeah,
they were shut out the first two. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was this one. I'm pretty sure it was Maryland. Yeah, well, they lost like 27-10.
Yeah, and during that season, I do Uber on the site because the economy has been bust a little bit, but I was taking fans to the stadium and Ubering them there. They're like, God, this season sucks. Like they need to fire Fickle right away, and I'm like, Fickle is going to be there for the next 1 to 2 years,
Yep.
And then they'll fire him. But in reality, it's just, as a Bears fan, we haven't won Super Bowl in how many years? Since 85?
That's a little bit. Just a little bit.
Well, it's like
years. We'll get up there. Hopefully, we get up to 50 years. We'll have a little party, pop some champagne. It'll be wonderful. Yeah, no. So the only game I feel like I haven't been to was a Milwaukee Admirals game. I feel like I would love to go to a hockey game because obviously they don't have an NHL team, but because hockey I've been getting into a lot over these past few years. Just
hockey's great.
Dude, hockey in person is just holy cow! It's so much fun, and the playoffs are incredible.
Yes.
Now my question to you is that should Wisconsin have a pro NHL team?
Listen, if they do, then I will happily root for them. I will happily, because the fact that I can go 30 minutes and I could be at the Bucks or I could be at the Brewers, sure, let's do that for an NHL team. I'm all about it. The team that I picked up was the Seattle Kraken because a few years ago while I was getting into hockey and I was telling folks I was getting into hockey, they were like, well, what fan are you? And I was like, well, I don't know anything about hockey. And I don't know. So I saw the Kraken and there was this cute little plush of a little squid. And I was like, I'm in. So now since then, folks have sent me jerseys, tentacles. So go Kraken.
I mean, they're a solid team. So
yeah, my fiance is a Rangers fan, and so we've been to a few of those games at MSG, which were great. But listen, just like the Kraken, neither of them are making the playoffs. So we're right down there with them.
Rangers they're eliminated. Seattle, I mean, they're gone. Yep. Blackhawks, they're not doing anything. They haven't done anything since 2015. So, Chicago sports since the early mid 2000s has just been downhill.
I think the Bears are doing just fine. I mean, here's the thing. I can't even talk trash about the Bears because they just humiliated us in the playoffs. So I can't even say that with conviction anymore. So it's tough. We gotta bounce back this season.
I even went on because I sometimes do Twitch streams as well. I even went on and I was like, I bet all the Packer fans are crying their hearts out today. Because we beat you so bad.
Dude, being up 21-3 and it's halftime and there's obviously there's a bunch of Packers fans that are in the stream, but there's also a ton of Bears fans and they're like, I knew this team wasn't for real. I knew this was going to happen. We're getting him back. And I'm sitting here as a Packers fan, talking them off a ledge, being like, hey, this isn't over, man. I've seen my team before. I know how this could end, and unfortunately, it ended just like it could have.
Well, when it comes to sports, I have this thing where I get a little detached, so I have a little bit more of a larger outside view, where I'll have a sweet spot for, let's say, the Milwaukee Brewers because I grew up with them, but I'm not really a fan of any team per se. So for me, it's I like all the small and mid-market baseball teams. So it comes to the large markets like the Dodgers, Yankees, Cubs. I'm like, no thanks.
Yeah, unless.
And then when it comes to the hockey, I just follow the teams that have some kind of presence in Wisconsin. So the Admirals are the AHL affiliate of Nashville. Minnesota has RSN rights in Wisconsin. And then Chicago has the southern Wisconsin. And the northeastern portion, upper northeastern portion is, I like to say, Detroit. So I try to keep tabs on, but it's a loose following.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, just even if you're not a fan, like especially hockey, I find like even if you're not a fan, like it is just such a fun sport to get into, and it's so fast because like the thing that has been the barrier for my entry to games like baseball, basketball, or even is there's just so many games, and like you compare that to football, which is so finite. You know, they would love to make a longer season. But it feels like, and I know that this has changed over the years in the NFL, but it really feels like every single game matters, right? Like if you go on a 5-game losing streak in the NFL, buddy, your season's like over, right? Like they're talking like we're firing people, you know, like we're changing quarterbacks, all that. You lose 5 games in a row in like the MLB or like Baz, it's not great, but
it's not.
We'll get them next week.
It's not great. It's not horrible, and it's like, you know, MLB they have 162 games. It's like. My God!
Whatever.
You're gonna lose a lot of games, right?
You're gonna
like,
lose a lot of
right.
You're gonna lose a lot of games. Hockey, they're at 82. They want to go up. They're gonna go up to 84 next year.
Yeah.
So, which is good because hockey preseason doesn't really get a lot of traction. But hockey regular season, that's where all the fans go nuts.
Yeah.
Actually, last Sunday I took Brandon to his first White Sox game because he's never been to the stadium. And Brandon, you probably say you would put out your top 10, I would say. Probably
close to top 10, if not top 15 for sure.
That's awesome.
It was my first MLB game outside of Milwaukee.
Nice.
Yeah. There's other stadiums I want to go to. I want to check out Cincinnati. I want to check out Kansas City, Detroit. Even I wouldn't mind going back to St. Louis for a game. Funny enough, Pittsburgh I want to go to. My dad's been to Pittsburgh at their old stadium.
Dope, man. It's just such an awesome city too. It's such a walkable city. It's beautiful. Also, it reminds me bits of it remind me of Milwaukee. I really really like Pittsburgh.
You also need to add the greatest bar on the face of the earth, the Coors Field
of Denver. Yeah, that is a giant bar.
It's I've been to Coors in Denver. It's a fun time.
It's a bar.
I hear it's beautiful though because it is a mountains in the back.
Stadium. Again, dude, $16. So I was at a grocery. I will remember this vividly. Like this was, oh boy, we're going back over a decade at least. We're going maybe 12, 13 years. Like they were bad. And we went to a grocery store in the Denver area and we were just checking out. And they're like, you want to buy some Rockies tickets? Like the cashier. And I was like, what? They're like, yeah, like $16, you know, first base line, you know, about 3 rows away.
First base line is like $300.
$16, man. Like those will be the greatest seats I ever get. So, yep. And that's how I went to Coors Field.
Well, like when we went to game 3 this season of the whole season between Milwaukee and the White Sox, we were like, what was like 2 or 3 rows from the field, or the first row or whatever. And we ended up getting like $50 a ticket for those. But at the same time, Milwaukee's a playoff caliber team. The White Sox are now just a fun, bad team.
Well, they're in second now. They're almost at the top of their division.
The AL Central's bad. You know that.
You can just go into a game, like just it's the experience, right? Of being and like sitting in, like close up to the field, like you know, man. Like the only time I've been front row at Lambeau was for preseason games, you know, because those are the only games I can go to at Lambeau now, just because I stream them all. Is I go to all these preseason games and I just go once a year and go up to Green Bay and stay for a few days, and it's super cool for camp. But yeah, man, like I don't care. Like I still get to see the Packers. I'm happy.
Now, since moving to Wisconsin, I don't know if you've been maybe in contact. He's everywhere. I don't know if you've been in contact with Charlie Barons at all.
Oh, no. So I saw that he was speaking out against the AI data center in Port Washington. So hell yeah for Charlie using his platform to do that. Because, dude, last time I drove up to Green Bay a few weeks ago, I had to drive up there because I filmed it was the week of the draft. I did it for the 30 and 30 promo. And you're just driving and you just see this entire thing like on the stretch of the highway. It's gross. So yeah, no, I haven't run into him, but I saw him at the draft in Green Bay.
He was on stage, I think.
Yeah, I think he did a whole set and stuff. Yeah.
Well, like I know you have like a fantastic relationship with the Green Bay front office still, don't you?
So the front office. So it's so funny because like I knew one person in the Packers organization. That has now changed, but It was Mark Murphy. And the only reason I knew him was because I'll never forget this. It was New Year's Eve in 2015. And I just shot him an email like on his Murphy Takes 5 and was like, hey, I did a podcast this year. Like 5,000 people listened to it total. And I would love to interview you at some point. And he got back to me in like 3 hours and was like, yeah, let's set it up for next year. And he did. And we did a 90-minute one. And then so that I just kind of kept going back to the well there, and I got to know him over the years. But that was the only contact I had, it was just Mark, and it was just for those interviews. And then like over the years, like I just started meeting more folks who just worked for the Packers. Like, so like Wes Hodquist is a very close friend of mine now, right? Like I know his boss Duke, and I know like the social media folks, and like I know Renee. And so it's funny because I don't have like this insane relationship with the organization. I just have like some of these folks are my friends now. Like, and we're just, so anytime like they have a thing where they're like, hey, we could utilize you for this, I'll be like, yeah, sure. Let's rock out. But yeah, no, it's been super cool. Especially, we got schedules coming out in a couple of days.
Yeah. And like, do you have any plans to have any interviews with Ed Policy or not set?
So people were asking for that last year, and I had just moved to Wisconsin, so I wasn't able to set that up because it just wasn't going to work. So I am going to attempt to reach out probably in around like July to set something up for August. Who knows if they're going to respond? So like that's you never know.
Right. Like, well, you've had like such a busy past few years. I wouldn't expect you to do anything like that last year. Even this year, I wouldn't expect much because you're planning a wedding. You have part 2 of 30 and 30.
Yeah, like it's a little bit. There's some things.
That's a lot. Like my cousin got married a couple months ago, and he was like super busy with like a bunch of stuff too. So that's just a lot of work.
Planning a wedding is busy work.
And that's the thing too, like Maya is insanely supportive. And so we have like, as long as we have an idea of when and where we're going to get married before the NFL season starts, we're good to go, because in 2 weeks I'm gone for a month. And like, that's just a super long time. Right. And it's the travel every single day to a new city, and then get to a stadium or get to the city, get to a fan event, do the fan event, and then get on a plane or a train or a car and just do that all the next day for 30 days. It's a lot. So yeah, they can't do too much wedding planning on the road, and she can't be the only one to do that. So.
And are you going to be going into more stadiums this year or no?
So I'm probably so the idea was that the stadiums that I got into last time it's not really like the priority to get into them again, because I already did. And like, I don't want to be like super repetitive and be like, let's do the same stadium tour. It is. And like, there's also, take the Broncos, for example. Like the Broncos, I climbed to the top of their stadium. Like I went up there with the mascot. They brought the cheerleaders out with all the Lombardis. Like, what am I going to ask for them again? Be like, hey, can you top that from 3 years ago? It's just not going to happen. So the goal is trying to get into the stadiums that I couldn't get into last time. And there's really only one overlap that's a problem with the World Cup, and that's in Philadelphia. And I didn't get into it last time. So to be honest with you, I'm just going to wait until the day of. And if I can snag a cheaper ticket to the World, like I'll walk in that way, and I'll do my own stadium tour, because that's what I did for Cleveland. I went and saw monster trucks. So however it works.
No, well, yeah, whatever works. Yeah. I know my deceased Uncle Paul's brother, Bruce, he went to every MLB stadium, except it's obviously not within a month. It's like a span of years, and it was actually on his bucket list. At least that's what my aunt told me. Yeah. So like, I'm like, that'd be kind of cool, but there's some games I don't want to buy tickets to because those are gonna be like too damn expensive.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, even just going to like a Dodgers game, go to a Yankees game, like those tickets are gonna be pricey. Like just to that, and that's what I kind of love about Milwaukee so much, is even when the Brewers are really good, right? Dude, like the tickets for those playoff games cost less than like the nosebleeds in Yankee Stadium. So I'm like, yeah, I'm okay with this.
Yeah, you can go on like a ticket resale thing for a playoff game. All of a sudden you're spending like no more like $250, $300.
Yeah.
And over at Yankee Stadium, you're spending like $400 or $500 easily.
Yeah, easily. So I'm very okay with the cost of living out here. It has been a nice change of pace from New York.
Yeah. Anyways, so what's next after the wedding and 30 and 30 part 2?
Yeah, so the wedding, we'll see. Again, we got to plan. We don't have a date. We don't have a venue.
Right.
Because then we only did that about a month, well, not even a month ago now. But yeah, so 30 and 30 part 2, that's the last time I'm doing it, just because I'm also in just a much different place in my life than what I was 3 years ago. You know,
Right.
like I was like Maya and I were seeing each other, but we weren't like dating officially. And like now that we are engaged, it's kind of like I don't want to leave her for a month, like over and over again, because one, I don't want to, and just, you know, time with like the family that we're building out here. And then on top of that, you know, I promised back in 2023, because we were under 500,000 subs when we did 30 and 30, the first one. I was like, all right, I'll do this one more time when we get to 1 million. And so I'm really looking forward to that. I'll probably do another international tour. If it's not next year, it'll be the next year after that. Just because they're now going to different places. You know, like I'll be able to go to Australia, which I've never been to, and I'd love to go to Australia. And it's a good excuse to be like, oh, I gotta go for work. Oh, let me go to the Great Barrier Reef while I'm here. Like, you know, one of those things.
And possibly run into a sea snake, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. You know, just vibes. But yeah, so yeah, probably international tour next year. And then, yeah, I mean, I'm kind of just looking forward to the point where I have an off season again, because then that allows me to kind of pursue some things that are outside of football, because the season's always going to be the season, right? Like the 80 to 100 hours a week of streaming every primetime game, all the Packers games, content at least 6 to 7 days a week. You know, that's kind of always going to be there. Because I just love to do it. But to be able to then pursue some other things like during the off season in the summer that's not related to like 30 and 30 of their international tour, because I haven't had an off season since 2023. You know, so yeah, it'll be nice. Like I'd love to do some more stand up and, you know, try to make a movie and all that great stuff. So yeah, man,
you should just take a weekend, or you just take a long weekend, go up to Door County, just contact me and I'll meet you up there and I can give you some places to go.
Still haven't. It is on. Like I'm getting up there this summer, because like I've been coming in and out of Milwaukee / Green Bay for over 10 years, just for training camp and all that great stuff. And I've just never made it up to Door County. So
are you a fan of jazz?
I love jazz. Yeah, sure.
Okay, so
cherries too.
The Peninsula Symphonic Band, the community band of Door County, has a jazz wing called the Swing and Door Big Band. My dad plays trumpet in that group. I don't know if they're going to be performing next year or not. I think they are. They're working on getting new director, because their current director is retiring at the end of the year after their Christmas concert, right? I used to play in that group when I lived up there with my parents, but they got my tuba and all that. I have a community band concert this Sunday at 3:00 at the Central Heights Middle School auditorium.
Long story short, he's never home.
Yeah,
he's never here.
Yeah, no, I have
like greatest roommate ever.
Yeah, like I'm gone half the time, whether it be at the studio, I'm at my church for trombone choir rehearsal, or I'm at community band rehearsal. Yeah, or I'm driving around doing DoorDash for side money, because entry-level media jobs don't exactly pay the greatest.
They do not.
Nope, not at all. Not at all. Anyway, so what I'll do for the Swing Door Big Band stuff is I'll send you their concert list, or their concert dates, or I'll even just send you the website link and you can see which days those are, so that way if you wanted to attend one of those concerts you could. My mom plays trombone in the community band and as a second trombone. My dad plays trumpet in the group too. He does both ensembles.
That's dope.
So I'll send that up to you. And then just let me know. I can tell you which restaurants to go to.
Yeah, that sounds great. I appreciate it.
I'll take you to wherever. I don't mind.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Not a problem. Not a problem. So last thing, do you have any tips for those who want to get into content creation? Because it's obviously a ton of work. It took you like 10, 11 years to get to the point where you're at.
Yeah, it took 11 years to get to this point. Yeah, I mean, it's I tell this story like so many times, but it took 3 years to make $200 on YouTube. You know, and I just did it because I loved it. If you want, and now it was oversaturated back in 2015. It's even more oversaturated, but it's just the landscape has changed so much, you know, because now there is like the short content that even when it comes to like long podcasts, that's usually the short stuff is how people get introduced to that, right? They're like, oh, okay, like you take a snippet of this conversation and they're like, it's really interesting. And then they want to go check out the rest of the show. So like have a portfolio of content. You know, the days of going viral are fewer and fewer, especially like on platforms like YouTube, just because they have changed a lot of their algorithm and a little bit more pay to play and whatever. So that's that. But it's also just be consistent, man. Like, and I know that those are like super basic ones, but man, like I put out content at least 5 days a week from August of 2019. And I finally stopped that in February of 2026. So like I just threw it throughout July, throughout the off season. It was at minimum 5 days a week. And yeah, I mean, the number one thing that I did early on was I knew that my content was not going to be the best, but I knew that I could get real fast with it. So like if the Packers would release somebody or they make a big time trade, I'd be able to record a video and have it out within 30 minutes to an hour. So if people were looking for the Devontae Adams trade, they'd type that in and I would pop up and maybe that would bring more people in. But yeah, man, it's just you make the kind of content that you want to make and just be consistent with it. And yeah, I mean, like it takes years. Sometimes it takes a lot of years to get kind of any momentum, but you know, you have to enjoy it. You know, if you don't love it, then there's no point in doing it.
It took me 6 years to get to 200 on my Twitch. So when I got my first paycheck when I was in college back in 2020, I was like, oh wow, this is actually like I got money from content creation. I got money now.
Yeah. And like in this podcast is only a couple years old and we're on multiple platforms. Like we're on iHeart, Spotify, Apple, YouTube, and Substack. I write on Substack for like baseball opinion pieces and trade ideas. I have stuff from Community Band and the Trombone Choir. They're in their own separate playlists on the YouTube side of things. But that's kind of all we got. So thanks for coming on to our tiny fledgling little podcast.
I appreciate you guys having me. This is like the time that I'm able to do this kind of stuff. So, you know, I just try to do as many podcasts as I can because like I know what it's like to be, you know, just grinding away and just trying to get. So yeah, I'm happy to come on.
Well, like you're always welcome. Come back on, just BS about whatever you want. I don't mind.
Yep. Appreciate
the
you guys.
title is literally say it is for a reason. Just say whatever you want. We don't care.
That's it.
I keep saying.
Yep. And then, as I already stated, the platforms you can listen to us on. You can find Tom on YouTube at Tom Grossi Comedy, or just type in Tom Grossi on the search bar. That's the most efficient way. And just subscribe to him if you haven't yet. And then subscribe to us as well. I'll put all of our socials in, like all the podcast socials in the description this time around. So that way I don't have to go list them all of them. And yeah, until next time, thanks everyone. Bye.